My name is Chris, and today we're taking a deeper look at the growing trend of hi-fi hats. Welcome to the Vinyl Attack. With the last tumultuous video involving the sonic improvements a power cord might make, I thought it might be a good idea to lighten the mood a touch. Something I've been seeing for quite a while now, but haven't yet reported upon, is the growing trend of hi-fi headwear. That's right, you heard correctly. The latest technology into how you can improve your home listening experience doesn't involve technology at all. It involves hats. You may have already seen this somewhat skeptical idea trending on social media as of late, but I decided to take a deeper dive and see if there are any truth to its claims. First and foremost, we need to start with the basis of why hi-fi hats would even make sense. If you've ever cupped your hands behind your ears, you already know what you hear changes drastically. This is the foundation upon which hi-fi headwear is built. The theory being that the type of cap you wear upon your head takes the sound waves being projected toward your ears and fundamentally changes how they are received. At first, I must say that I was highly skeptical of what I consider to be complete nonsense. But in doing my due diligence, I decided to test to the best of my ability what truth might lie underneath. After all, if room treatment and speaker placement can have a profound impact upon sonic reproduction in your home, changing how the sound reaches you at the source, i.e. your ears, would seem to make some sense. But did it? You might be quite shocked to learn that, in fact, it did. I took a collection of hats in my home and wore them over the past couple of months, taking notes on what sonic characteristic changes I found with each one. As you can already guess, some hats will be better suited to the task of enhancing hi-fi audio than others. For example, when wearing my trusty Red Wings winter cap, I found, quite obviously, that the high end was rolled off and there was a lack of detail overall. Some people might enjoy the warmer presentation of sound and the enhanced bass response, but I just found it a bit muddy for me. I suppose this isn't the end of the world though, considering that wearing a winter hat every time I wanted to listen to my stereo would be a bit much and a bit warm. But that was an obvious outcome. So next up, I chose my Gorin Brothers flat cap that I've had for some years. With its short brim and slightly protruding sides, I did notice a larger improvement over the winter hat, mainly a positive one at that. The wider range of tones were more balanced in their presentation, and the volume levels were more comfortable overall in this hat. Nothing was too bright, but the bass response did improve, even if only slightly. I would say that this might be for the best, as I recall this hat being a bit more costly than one might want to spend on headwear, even if it is for our coveted hi-fi hobby. Moving over to something a bit more ubiquitous, I went to the trusty ball cap. Almost everyone has a baseball hat around the house, so that would make sense as to my next foray into this new trend. While I did notice a slight difference in the mid-range and lower high-end, it wasn't what I would call prevalent, most likely because the brim of the hat is in front of your face and directs the sound toward your chin and not your ears. If you already wear a ball cap fairly regularly, you've probably noticed this. Congratulations, you are ahead of the curve. But what if you could add the effect by doubling the hats? To accomplish this feat, I took two baseball hats and wore them with the brims facing either side of my head, a la Sherlock Holmes style. To accomplish this, one of the hats needs to be a snapback, so please keep this in mind when attempting this at home. Then simply put one hat facing your left ear and the other one over top facing your right ear. Sure, you might feel a little silly, I know I did, but looking cool doesn't factor in when considering you're trying to improve what we hear. This twin cap fabrication definitely brought impactful changes, but I wouldn't necessarily were all positives either. I ended up having what I like to call the seashell effect. Everything had a touch of echo to it, and all the upper mids and highs were overly pronounced. While nothing was excessively harsh, I certainly didn't find it to my liking. Feeling as though I was hearing my finest records being played in what amounted to a cave just wasn't for me, even if it was a cave that yielded greater detail in the sound. Your mileage may vary. This brought me to the last hat in my collection that was of a different style, again from the Gorin Brothers store. No, this is not a sponsored video. This is a straw, short-brimmed fedora that I picked up several years ago that is now discontinued. They do still have other short-brimmed fedoras, and you can certainly buy your hats anywhere you choose, of course, but this is what I had on hand, or on head. With a slightly rolled-up brim protruding evenly all the way around the hat, I found the sonic influence to be by far the most positive of all my tests. Everything was simply more balanced in nature. This made sense to me as the sound had a chance to distribute itself across the whole of your head and not just in front of your face or the sides. Highs had a bit more shimmer without being too bright. The mids had a smooth, mellow tone but still accentuated male and female vocals alike. All the while, the bass response was improved by being more punchy and deep without ever being overly boomy. The upward-facing brim seems to let that unwanted characteristic escape. Additionally, this is a very comfortable hat, so I can see myself making it a regular part of my listening habit. Pull out a record, give it a clean if necessary, definitely treat it for static, brush off any residual dust, don my trusty cap, and settle in for a pleasant listening session. What could be easier? While I am certain that I will go on to try as many hats as I can get my hands upon, I hope that this short guide helps you to start your journey in improving on how you listen to music overall, and I would be quite interested in hearing your findings. With this being such a simple test that almost everyone can easily access, it's a wonder I didn't think of it before. Thanks to all of my patrons on Patreon who help make these videos possible. Thanks to you for stopping by to watch, and happy April Fool's Day.